This is a proposition I'm grasping with trying to understand. Why would a private equity firm that wants to grow their money put in a CEO with no experience?
It's such a good question. And I'm reminded of when I first 10 years ago, when I was explaining to my mother, graduating from Harvard Business School, what I was planning to do. She genuinely could not understand it. And I don't blame her in the slightest. She said to me, "So hold on a second. You're asking people to give you money, and you've never managed as much as a lemonade stand in your entire life. Nobody has ever reported to you, including like an administrative assistant. You don't know what company you're going to buy. You don't even know what industry you're going to buy it in. And people are giving you money for this?" My response was, yeah, basically. So the concept itself does sound a little bit crazy, but I guess a couple things come to mind. The first is that the search fund model has been around since 1985, and there's been almost 500 of them that have successfully started and finished since then. The returns to the asset class, despite how crazy it may sound on the surface, are incredibly compelling. In fact, on average, the IRR for investors is in the mid 30s, and the multiple of capital for those investors is above 5 times. That makes search funds a more performant asset class than private equity, private debt, infrastructure, public markets, and venture capital. So clearly, there's something here. The historical data makes that very true in a very black and white way. As an investor, yes, you are taking a bet on a first-time CEO. And so a lot of the bet that you're taking, just like any form of entrepreneurship or any form of investment, is based upon the entrepreneur himself or herself. But remember that investors are targeting a specific type of business. And that type of business is one that tends to lend itself rather well to a first-time CEO. So what do we mean by that? Relatively straightforward operating model, tendencies towards recurring revenue so that new CEO doesn't have to recreate the wheel each year, preference for sticky products and low customer churn rates, preferences for companies that have a long operating history, that are already profitable, that are already generating cash. So this is all to say that certain businesses operating in certain industries do indeed lend themselves in a much more appropriate way to first-time CEOs than other businesses do. And those tend to be the types of businesses that search funds target.